Hey everyone, Joe here, and another What's Cracking, and today's special guest. Two of them, my God, that must have been good. We've got none other than Madeline and Dusty from Honey Bunch, the brand new movie coming out on Shudder on February 13th. So I want to say, first of all, thank you very much for coming.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks for having us.
So I'm not going to lie, I watched this instead of the Super Bowl as I lost a ton of
Yes.
money.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
What
That's
an
like high praise. Like, oh, I don't want to watch the Super
honor.
Bowl. What do I do? Like, oh, watch Honey Bunch. It is brilliant. And I see you both do writing and directing in it, right? So I've got a
You
Yes.
lot
both
of
do.
questions on this because you see a coherent piece from, Act One all the way through, and the pacing is brilliant, all the acting is great, and all the stuff. How is it to write a coherent piece and then also direct it?
Hmm. That's a good question. I
It is
mean,
a good
I think
question.
when you're writing something, especially when you know you're going to direct it, you try to have a clear vision of the visual aesthetic and the tone. But ultimately, when you cast something and you shoot something, it's just there's going to be a wide variety of unpredictable elements that will emerge. And we've learned early on in the directing process that although we can be incredibly prepared and have all these ideas of what we want, ultimately we need to be really kind of aware and present of what's kind of changing in the moment and to learn when that's working for the film and learn when it's not working for the film and to try to like you're kind of steering a ship in a storm, and you know kind of where you want to go and you have a map, but there's so much navigating that has to happen. That's sort of the magic of filmmaking. That's like the fun part because all those moments that, like, for example, the opening of the film, which was stunning, it's a storm. We weren't planning to do something like that. That just happened on the day and it actually derailed our schedule a little bit, but we realized like, oh, this is amazing. This insane storm with these waves with the rain. And we thought, okay, this is a great way to kind of open the film. And so you're kind of leaning into those moments.
Yeah, I think as well, it's important to be sort of two different people when you're the writer and the director. To when you're writing, you're throwing yourself into what you this vision that you have, and then when you're directing, you're interpreting that person's vision. Instead of otherwise, you get too kind of locked into this is verbatim and this is the way it has to be. And I think that one thing that we've both learned is that the more flexibility you can have, the better the outcome.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, like you said, the storm itself was a happy little accident that kind of wrecked your plans, but it turned out brilliant for the film. I know more than a few people that just like, oh, that's it, walked away
Mhm.
that day. But you guys didn't, pushed on. Now, what I'm saying you're doing co. Did you ever fight amongst each other saying, no, this is what I meant. Page five, it's got to be like this. I don't care. You're
I
doing the
think we
directing.
do
Yeah.
get all our fighting out in the writing
Oh yeah,
stage.
big time, big time. Well, because we're just heavy outliners, so we spend a lot of time like breaking out the beats before we even get to screenplay format, and that is a long process of conversation back and forth. So we've usually like really aligned ourselves so that we really see the movie in the same way.
So sometimes it can be very frustrating when you have this idea in your head of this is brilliant and this is the way it has to be, and you just don't see my brilliance. And then you're trying to explain it to the other person and they're not getting your brilliance. They're like, no, that's terrible. And what's really good about that, from my perspective, and why I love being in a collaboration, is that sometimes the things I initially hold on to as these brilliant ideas, Dusty then gives me a perspective where I have to look at myself really critically and think, is that as brilliant as I thought it was? It's like when you wake up from a dream and you think, oh, I need to write that dream down. It's going to be the best movie ever. And then 2 days later, you look at it and it's the garblings of a madwoman.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get all of that, hash that out in the writing. And then when we're directing, it's really, I mean, there's times when we'll feel really passionate about something. Sometimes Dusty will see something like a shot we haven't planned for, a new idea or a new line for the script, and you just have to go with it and trust the other person that if they're seeing this, there's value in it.
Yeah, I think we've learned this is our second feature. We've made three shorts together, not to be so precious about that process and just again trust each other's instincts. That's really the most important thing. And we create a rule of whoever's the most passionate wins. So if someone is really, really passionate, We do what that person wants. And if we're both really, really passionate, we do
We
both.
do
We
both.
just do
Yeah.
both. And it's like it's a great way to mitigate conflict on set. But ultimately, when our key crew come to us and ask us a question, they get the same answer most of the time.
I mean, instincts are can either be the best thing that you will ever shoot, or they can just be, no, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And why would you not attempt it to get the best thing you could ever shoot?
Yeah.
So you're saying that it's okay to attempt things. It might not work, but you have to try. And if it works,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
brilliant.
like
Otherwise, something
listening
might
to
come
your
from it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think instinct is important, but you're right. Like instinct doesn't always work out, but it's, I think, a great path that often leads to exciting outcomes.
Very cool. When you're talking about outlining, I'm guessing you're using the small cards. This is like this beat has to go to this beat before Act One, and something like that. You outline the entire thing first and then read it back as a movie to each other and then make cuts from there, or
It's so
It's always
detailed.
different with each
Yeah.
project as well. We're always trying to kind of refine and say, sort of, what does this particular script need? With Honey Bunch, it was very intricately plotted, so it was quite
I
detailed.
would say we definitely do cards because cards
Mhm.
are a great macro way of looking at your total story. So you try to like distill a whole scene, like what's the heart of the scene in like a sentence, you know? So
right.
you'd write that sentence out and then you break that out. But that's not enough. Like that's helpful to see how the general story is moving for the flow of structure. And then we would take each card and we would break out like what is every character's objective in the scene? What are they trying to accomplish? And what are the key kind of emotional beats in the character's journey from getting from point A to point B. And then what are the story beats where you might have a setup and a reveal and a payoff and like little things like that. And sometimes you have an idea like, oh, this is a really cool image or a
Mm.
textural element and you're trying to figure out what scene might that belong to. So we're kind of like trying to create a kind of like structured, organized way of collecting all of our thoughts and ideas prior to the writing process. But then when you go to write, you don't even really look at
No,
that, to
it's
be
just
honest.
like tools to fall back on if you get really
Yeah, it's
stuck.
sort of like the confidence to just write the thing. So you're like, oh, I know what it is. Here's my guide. If I get lost, I look at this thing here.
That's very cool. And then I was wondering if you ever do that for the shorts, because shorts are a little bit more compact. You still have to tell the story. Is that how you learn to do your features then?
Yeah, we did actually outline all of our shorts as well. I think both of us come from sort of a writing first
Yeah,
um approach
background.
to background,
Yeah.
yeah, to making films. And yeah, we always, I think with our shorts, we were just slowly working out what is our process as writers for features.
And it's still evolving. You know, I think with every film that we make, we're changing how we write, changing how we direct in a way to hopefully improve and find something that's truthful and honest and better for us, you know, like trying to
That's it.
grow.
That's
Yeah.
exactly you want the truth and the honesty of it, the honesty of it all. And for Honey Bunch, it is a gosh, I'm not no spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers. I believe you guys use gaslighting in your IMDb, saying that the movie's about gaslighting a little bit. But it also talks about what it truly means to be a person.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
there's deep psychology about this movie that others
Mhm.
might not see. How much preparation do you do for this, for the psych backgrounds and just to getting into the actual human emotions of it?
A lot of it is born out of our own like personal experiences with some of the subject matter. So, for example, I have a lot of dementia and Alzheimer's in my family, so I'm like just instantly fascinated with those
Right.
conditions, and I've done a lot of research on that. And there's a lot of fear and anxiety, you know, built around like, will that one day happen to me, and how will that impact our relationship? And then when you start to think, you know, from an existential philosophical perspective of what does it mean to even be a person, like your own sense of identity. Who are you but your memories? If all you remember are the bad things in your life, then does your identity, is it transformed and shaped by those, you know, negative emotions? What does it mean to, you know, deal with trauma and how do you like overcome it? And so I think those are like ideas that are running throughout the entire film and
We
they're
definitely had a conversation about what are trees conscious. I remember that, having that
sure.
conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Um,
like that. So you're saying it was because of personal interest. It looks like it was well done, well developed, and stuff like that, obviously. But it comes across that you had some kind of personal investment just beyond the art. It was a
oh, of
question no one else you
course.
had
Yeah,
yourselves.
sure. I think everything we make starts off by finding something that is really interesting to us that we feel like we have a perspective on. that we care about. And often that means, ch excavating your own
Right.
self, like you're asking each other, like, personal questions. For this, it was really trying to understand like what our unique viewpoints were on love. We're often exposed to this sort of myth of like the perfect person, true love and soulmates. And we just realized we both didn't subscribe to that idea. We had a different idea of what love was. And a lot of the story and the ideas in the film were just born out of these kinds of conversations that we
Mhm.
had with each other, which are meaningful to us and hopefully then become meaningful to other people that watch the film.
So when you're working and you always seem to work together for the last couple of films, did you ever want to like do something individual, like Rolling Stones, Keith and Mick just do one album each this way and come back together?
I feel like we already started that way.
Yeah.
Like I started and you started writing and directing your own stuff. I was doing my own stuff
Mhm.
for like years, doing our own shorts, and then we found each other. So I don't have that desire.
No, I don't either. It's really just, I mean, I think both of us, neither of us push our agenda on the other person or our ideas on the other person. It's always about finding what interests both of us. And there's so many ideas that excite me that I know and that excite you that I know there'll be a crossover somewhere. And then it's about finding that crossover and kind of getting each other inspired, more inspired about
Yeah, that's
whatever.
a great way of putting it. It's like it's more important to find the cross section than it is to like convince the other person why the idea
Mhm.
is good, right? And so you're just trying to find the commonality there where it's like, oh, that's super interesting to me because you want it to be interesting to the other
I mean,
person.
I think a lot of the reason that we wanted to collaborate in the first place is because neither of us are the type of person that is sort of married to an auteur vision as a filmmaker. I don't feel like I need to have the germ of the idea come from me or belong to me, or I don't feel like I need the film to belong in any way to some idea of my vision. I think one thing that we really tried to do is forget whose idea is whose.
Hmm.
So it just becomes collectively both of us.
That's wonderful. I mean, that's really interesting to see because I've seen people who grew up writing in the split, but you guys actually came together from different backgrounds. Where do you guys meet professionally? I'm just curious now.
Yeah, it's funny. We actually met at the
Toronto Film Festival.
Toronto Film
Okay,
Festival in
okay.
2015. They had a filmmakers lab there, and it was there that we instantly kind of connected. And then we went to York to do our master's in film production, and we took this class, and it was an exercise to work with actors. And we decided, hey, let's make a short film together. We'll co-direct and produce together. And it was like just the first time we really enjoyed the whole process of making a film. And we instantly joined forces, started a company, and then we kept working with each other ever since.
Well, that's brilliant. I mean, that's one way of doing it properly. Like it's you're coming together for the art, you have something that clicks together, the universe brings you together, and here you are. Now, for Honey Bunch on February 13th, Shudder, yay. I not so much want to know, again, not no spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers. But did you have a vision on how to cast this? Because I believe the cast is very important on just the visual look wise and the ability to pull us off to be believable. Did you have the vision before you even started casting? And I know exactly I want this person right here.
We did for certain characters, and then for others, it was more open.
Yeah, like we wrote Homer and Diana for Grace and Ben, two like Toronto actors, and they're also writer directors, really talented um, real life couple. And we pitched them the whole project over dinner. Like
Asked them to do it,
before we
and
had even
yeah.
written it. And it was really amazing because once they said yes, it allowed us to really kind of sculpt the characters in a way that was interesting to them and us. But
Hmm.
we joke that like I'm actually more Diana and Madeline is more Homer. Um, and Jason Isaacs was really, we were just so lucky for him to connect with the script. He has a daughter himself, and he really loved the character and the journey that that character goes
When
on.
we were looking at who we were going to send out the script to for the other parts, it was really a lot of it was about these because we set up these ideas of kind of these gothic trope characters. And it was really looking for actors who were going to both fit into that trope and also
Mhm.
push against it.
Yeah. So like Julian Richings, like we wrote it for him, and it was fun for us to think about, taking he's always playing these characters that are really quite creepy, and how can we like actually it appears that he's this creepy guy, but then
Right.
later you realize he's a sweetheart. And there's something kind of lovely about that journey that he goes on. And India
Mhm.
Brown, who plays Josephina, we wrote it for her. We saw her in this Apple TV show Invasion, and she was just really blew us away. And she was a dream to work with. She was
Yeah.
incredible.
Kate Dickie, we've just been a fan of since
Right.
forever. I saw Red Road when I was at theatre school and was just obsessed with her performance in that. So that was just kind of a dream to end up working with her. We didn't write it for her because it just wasn't even in our minds that she would work on it. But yeah, so lucky she came to it.
Well, that's amazing. And I can actually see some of this. So like it looks like they're just born to play these roles. I'm like, my God, it's like the perfect casting for this. Like, who does this? This is wonderful, man. So as we kind of land the plane, I ask one question, same question to each of you. What advice would you give to younger you? When I say younger, I mean like teen or below.
Ooh, great question. Um, what advice would you give younger you?
Oh my God, s- just so much advice. I don't know if I can distill it down to one thing. I need a moment to think about it.
Here's the book of advice. We gave it here.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there's too much advice.
Yeah.
Chapter 5. You need it in your 20s.
What would I say? Maybe it's advice I would give myself now that I'm still trying to figure out
Okay,
yet.
I think I know what I would say today. Maybe
Yes.
my advice would change tomorrow, but I think I would say that it's okay to be you because it's taken me a long time to get to the point as as a writer, director, actor to be all right with just saying things that I want to say and not trying to be Wes Anderson or be
Right.
Noah Baumbach or
Yeah.
be Jane Campion. It's like just be you. And some people, you'll find the people who are also like you that way instead of trying to impress the people who you're never going to impress anyway.
That's true. I would say embrace the unexpected. Don't resist it. The unexpected is your friend. And I
Right.
think once you realize that it's just you're never swimming up current,
That is
and
very cool.
that's a good thing.
And you combine both of those devices and you have Honey Bunch. Honestly,
Yeah.
There you
embrace it
go.
and being yourself. And Honey Bunch on February 13th from Shudder. Well, I want to say thank you both for your time. On behalf of myself, Joe, and Madeline and Dusty, we bid you good day. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
It is.